Welcome back, 3D students. In this video, we're going to apply a texture to our character here. And we're going to put a really nice, texture on his shorts like he's wearing here in the reference images. Before we get started, we need to do a few things. Let's go ahead and go back to our layer menu and hide our reference layer. We really don't need it anymore. And then we're going to create a material with the texture that I gave you that you should find on your D drive of your computer at school. So drag a physical material out into the slate, drag off of the base color node, select bitmap. It should go right to the Scene Assets Images folder of your project folder, and in there you should find the texture. You can use this one, and let's go ahead and apply it to our character. And you can quickly see that something is very wrong. Let's adjust the reflections a little bit. Maybe drag that down and drag the roughness up some. This texture is obviously not applied to this mesh correctly at all, so let's fix that. We're going to do what's called unwrapping the UVs. Let's start by deleting any smoothing modifier that's on the character. And we should end up with something like that. Now, when we do smooth it, it's going to pull this edge right here of the short, so we don't want that to happen. Like, we don't want this green here to be pulled up onto the body. Let me show you what I mean. You can see that that pulls that edge up, and that would pull the green texture up there. We don't want that. So we need to put a control loop right here. So I'm going to enter edge mode and open up my modeling ribbon. Make sure you're in the modeling tab. Get swift loop and put an edge loop right there on the body next to the shorts. And you're going to have to do the same thing on the legs. Right there. And on the other leg as well. Right there. That should take care of that. Before we do this, let's save a copy. Remember how we do that. Just add a number, or you can click the plus sign. I've already done 4 because I already did this once, so I'm going to name this 5 just to save a copy, so we make sure we preserve what we have, or what we had before we started this. And then because we have a copy, let's go ahead and convert this to an editable poly to apply all the modifiers. And then we're going to add a UVW unwrap modifier, or unwrap UVW. And you'll see some green lines. These are the current seams of the UV mesh. If we open the UV editor, you can see that it's just a mess. You can see the seams everywhere. Okay, let's close that for a second. So what we're going to do is reapply UVs to this. So to do that, scroll down in your UVW maps or your unwrap UV settings and find projections group. Then we're going to select all of the polygons, and to do that you should be in polygon mode here. And then we can scroll down in the UV settings and find projection. We're going to click planar map, and then we're going to open the UV editor, and you can clearly see what that did. Now, it didn't fix our texture at all. You can see it's still smeared all over the character, and it just sort of squashed him and put him in the center of the thing here. But let's put our texture that we're trying to apply in the UV mapping area. If you come up here, right here, to this little pull down list, you can click pick texture, and you can click bitmap, and then you can apply the texture to that you're trying to work with, and you can see clearly that it's here. Now, if you can see how it's just sort of applied in all the wrong way. You'll also notice that there are no seams here anymore. So what we're going to do is create some new seams. So let's go back up here and enter edge mode right here. We're going to select the edges that we want to be seams. So let's click away to deselect all the edges, and we're going to click right here, double click it, and that selects that whole edge loop. And we're going to do the same thing around the legs right here in the corner. Hold down Control as you're doing it. Go do the other leg. And then we're going to split this down here. And then zoom in here, hold down Control, and start to select this seam, or this edge here like this. Just running down the side of the shorts like this, in the center. And then we're going to split it on through the crotch here. If you select one you didn't mean to, simply hit Control Z to undo the selection. Once we've got those edges selected, check and make sure there's nothing you didn't select by accident. If there is, hold down Alt and click on it to deselect it. And then you need to come down here and find the Peel group. Under here, there are some buttons. You want to push this one here, Convert Edge Selection to Seam. And that will turn your seam blue. And then we're going to click this button right here, Quick Peel. And that peeled our shorts and the rest of Patrick right here. Now you can kind of see the shape right here of the mesh. So let's take this segment here, and we can click this button here that will select everything by element. So click like that, move that up there, and you can see it changing as you're moving it. And then get the rotate tool and rotate it and move it into place. And then you're going to get the scale tool and scale it up. You don't want to go outside the area here, so if you do, just move it down. And if you have to, you may have to grab part of the mesh and move it in. If you do, switch to vertex mode, undo element mode, and just grab that whole piece and move it in like so. And try to move it in by section like I'm doing here. You want these things to stay kind of straight. Look at your handiwork. See if it looks good. If nothing's distorted and it looks good, then you're done. Now I have a problem here. I would need to go back and fix that before I unwrapped it. That's just a place where it didn't weld from the symmetry. But that's how you do it. Now the rest of Patrick, all of these pieces here, let's go back to element mode and polygon. These pieces here can simply be scaled down and left in the pink area because it's just a solid color and it doesn't really matter. Now if we were to try to paint some texture on it, like some bumpy things or scales or something like that, we would have to unwrap this better than this, because this would be distorted. You can see here where I have an area where my flower is a little distorted right here. If I click this, if I go to vertex mode and click that right there, I can see where that distortion is coming from. It's right here. And I can move that to try and fix that distortion. You can also see where I'm missing part of my flower here, but it's not that noticeable. That comes from right here. So let's go ahead and close this. Go to the top level on the unwrap and add our open subdiv back and see if that controlled the smoothing. And you can see the control loops that we use are keeping the texture that's supposed to be on the shorts. So the next thing you would do with this is import your studio lighting setup and put some lighting on him, and go ahead and adjust the reflections and roughness of the texture and turn it in. Hope you've enjoyed this project, and I'll see you in the next one.